2343, item number 15, 2579, item 18, 2630, item 20, 2653, item 22, AB 2700, item 28, AB 2812, and item 29, which is the committee bill. This is the most we've ever had on consent, so we should thank our Republican colleagues. The motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Must be the new vice chair. The motion is due pass, so with the recommendation of consent and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Aye. Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley? Aye. Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty? Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Wood? Aye. Wood, aye.
6-0, the consent is out. Mr. Quirk.
Thank you, Chair and members. AB 2800 will establish a working group that brings infrastructure engineers to the forefront of climate change adaptation discussions with climate scientists. There's a significant gap between climate change science and actionable knowledge for infrastructure engineers. This knowledge gap highlights the need for practicing engineers to be closely involved in adaptation efforts so that engineers can use engineering tools and judgment. The working group will address the process for these changes and report recommendations to the legislature. Today I have with me to testify Jason Barbos from the Union of Concerned Scientists, Dr. Jay Lund, Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering at UC Davis, Douglas George, coastal scientist and board member of the California Shore and Beach Preservation Association. AB 2800 fills an important gap in our state's climate change adaptation efforts. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Jason Barbos. I'm the Western States Policy Manager with the Union of Concerned Scientists. UCS is a nonprofit organization that advances science for a healthier planet and a safer world, and we're sponsoring this bill. To briefly underscore a couple points that Assemblymember Quirk just made, we see AB 2800 filling an important role in the state's ongoing work to prepare California for the unavoidable impacts of a changing climate. Our engineers in the state do important work designing and approving design for infrastructure projects that are the backbone to our economy and public safety. And we recognize that it is a difficult task to figure out how exactly to and effectively to incorporate uncertain future conditions from climate change into the design of infrastructure. But it is a hugely important that we do so, given the critical role of infrastructure and the need to spend public funds wisely on projects that can function as designed for many decades into the future, despite changing conditions from the climate. So this bill is a first step to addressing this issue, but we believe we need legislation to ensure that progress is made and engineers are adequately involved. We respectfully ask your aye vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Committee members, my name is Douglas George, and I've been a coastal scientist for the last 12 years. I'm also a board member with the California Shore and Beach Preservation Association. It's a nonprofit organization of coastal engineers, policy managers, academics, and land use planners. In the last 10 years, our confidence in climate change and what we know has improved vastly with sophisticated modeling and targeted observations and improved information exchange amongst our colleagues. Unfortunately, our engineers are now faced with ranges of possible impacts that can cause paralysis in innovating solutions, or worse, provide cover for staying with the status quo of our bridges, roads, and water conveyances. I believe we have enough science, but our job is to improve the translating of that science to usable ways to the engineers. AB 2800 directly addresses a gap to connect the climate science we have developed with the design of the infrastructure we depend on to live our California lives. Two quick examples bring this story home. The first relates to water, specifically the shortened lifespans and destruction of buried infrastructure from corrosion in coastal cities such as Santa Monica and Manhattan Beach from saltwater intrusion. Water agency engineers in these cities are already on the front line of a multi-billion-dollar replumbing along our coast. but do not have the necessary standards to design toward. The second example is obsolete bridge replacement in Santa Cruz County along Highway 1, where sea level rise will cause increased wave attack at the status quo roadways. With the correct information at hand, I believe Caltrans engineers would not be considering a simple rebuild, which they currently are. A standardization effort to elevate all state agency engineering to a climate change ready baseline is necessary to ensure state investments last their anticipated lifespans. AB 2800 creates this opportunity to collaborate with our engineers and produce the standards they need and we need to prepare our state for the expected turbulent 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jay Lund. I'm a professor of civil and environmental engineering at the University of California, Davis. I've spent many years working with state and local agencies on a variety of infrastructure issues and have done a lot of work with the American Society of Civil Engineers over the last 20, 30 years. As pointed out by the previous speaker, many state and local agencies have a wide variety of long-lived infrastructure that are going to be facing issues of how they manage with climate change, ports, water projects, bridges, roads, sewer systems, wastewater systems, stormwater systems, all have long-term consequences to how we manage them and what state engineering standards there are for managing those. If we don't have essentially some state thinking on what those engineering standards ought to be, then every local jurisdiction, every local consulting firm will be left to argue it out on their own, which wastes a lot of time and risks a lot of state investment. Having a group of state engineers work with climate scientists to try to bring some consistency and transparency to this issue, I think would probably be very useful and would also help integrate the different state agencies with their wide range of interests that often overlap in these areas. And in the long run, I think this will also help make sure our investments are better set. A variety of other professional organizations, engineering organizations, have an interest in climate adaptation and have been advocating things sort of along these lines within their own professional science societies. I think this will be a helpful way for the state to get involved as well.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Witness.
Juan Altamirano on behalf of Ottawa and California in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition? Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? To the committee. Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Assemblyman Quirk, I really just want to commend you. This is the second year in a row, if I understand correctly, that you've been focusing on the adaptability and the resilience of our infrastructure and our planning to be ready for the unexpected or for what climate change brings us. So I'm pleased to see adaptability and resilience are by far the least expensive, least painful ways to address what may be coming here in the 21st century. So I really commend you for the effort and pleased to support the bill.
Thank you.
I also think this is a good bill and a good way to focus on an issue that really has not been fully addressed. I would, however, say that prevention work is even cheaper than that adaptability work, but we still need to do adaptability work. Chair's recommendation is aye. Is there a motion? Motion by Stone, second by Hadley. Chair's recommendation is aye. Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones? No. Jones, no. Garcia? Aye. Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Wood?
Aye.
Wood, aye.
6-1, your bill is out.
Thank
you. Mr. Cooper. We have a couple other announcements. Item 2, AB 1749 by Mathis, is on today's agenda only for purposes of adopting an urgency clause. This is because we want to make sure that we get to an aye recommendation, and we need more time. So could I get a motion on Mr. Mathis's urgency clause? Motion by Hadley, a second by Jones for adding an urgency clause to 1749. Please call the roll.
The motion is adopting the urgency clause and re-referring to natural resources. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley? Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty? McCarty, aye. Stone? Stone, aye. Wood? Wood, aye. 7-0.
7-0. That bill now has an urgency clause and will be re-referred back to this committee. And the last announcement is that AB 2658, item 21, has been pulled by the author. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. AB 2564 makes improvements to the Clean Vehicle Rebate Project to make clean vehicles more accessible to a greater number of California drivers. Specifically, the bill increases rebate levels by $500 for low-income individuals, requires outreach to disadvantaged communities, prioritizes rebates payments for low-income consumers, and limits eligibility for high-income individuals. By increasing outreach and rebate levels for low-income Californians, AB 25654 will make clean vehicles more accessible to California drivers living in communities with poor air quality. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? To the committee. Motion by Hadley, second by Wood. Mr. Cooper, are you accepting the committee amendments?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you. So I think that your bill rightly attempts to get some headway on a very, very important issue, which is that the advent of electric and other alternative fuel vehicles should be a way to help working class communities, and of course the incentive should be felt across income levels. And we have good news with innovation driving the cost down. The cheapest car on the road today, according to Time Magazine, new car is an electric car, an electric Fiat, and of course you have the Tesla 3 and the Chevy Bolt coming out in the next year in the 30s. But for many working class communities to be able to access that, this is good improvements to the law that will help facilitate that. So the chair's recommendation is aye with amendments. Oh, Ms. Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you for working on this. I live in one of these zones that actually has been targeted, and they've been trying to do things like replace your ride in my area. And the additional monies are helpful. A lot of times, even with the additional $500, these cars are still out of reach for a lot of our lowest income individuals who are living in these really dirty cities. So anything we could do to get them closer is important. A loan program would be great too. And I think the other thing we need to start talking about is we're talking about doing outreach in these communities, making sure it's quality outreach that makes sense. There is outreach in my community, but it doesn't make sense right now, so we're not being successful. You provided numbers for me where less than 1% of the monies are coming into my district, even though we're the dirtiest air in Southern California out there. So thank you for looking into this area. I appreciate it, echoing our chairman's comments. But I think as you look at, and since you're starting to define outreach, I think keeping them a little more accountable would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Other comments, questions from the committee? I think I think the comments are fair. The leases are extremely cheap, $150 a month for a Leaf or a Fiat, and the fuel equivalent is $1 a gallon. Of course, it's electricity and not fuel. But the ownership barrier is a little bit more difficult, and this will help with that. Chair's recommendation is aye with amendments. Please call the roll.
Do pass as amended and re-refer to appropriations. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Aye. Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty? McCarty, aye. Stone? Stone, aye. Wood? Wood, aye.
7-0, your bill is out.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia, you're the star of the day with 3 bills.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. I'll start off with AB 2715. This would require the Department of Community Services and Development to develop and administer the Agriculture Working Poor Energy Efficient Housing Program with its intent to appropriate resources from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund to implement the program. California's farm workers are the backbone of a $46 billion agriculture industry that provides fresh fruit and vegetables to America and the entire world. While at one time farm worker population was characterized as its mobility, today it has become much more stable and permanent in the agriculture areas of the state. Many farm workers are located in rural, hard-to-reach areas of the communities. Energy consumption in their homes is higher than average because of the larger number of individuals per household. I believe that the Agriculture Working Poor Energy Efficient Housing Program is a good start to help our farm worker population be more energy efficient and will help California reduce its greenhouse gases to meet the 1990 levels by 2020. Thank you for your time. We have a couple of sponsors of the bill here who would like to testify on behalf.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair
2 minutes each.
and members, my name is Marco Lizarraga, and I am the Executive Director of La Cooperativa Campesina de California. La Cooperativa is a statewide association of federally designated agencies implementing and administering farm worker employment and training programs in California. La Cooperativa member agencies currently have 82 access points located in all of California's 34 significant agricultural counties, offering comprehensive services packages to rural agricultural regions. Our member agencies provide education, workforce training, job placement, housing, energy services, and emergency services to migrant and seasonal farm worker and other rural and semi-rural working poor in the agricultural industry. This legislation will help serve farm workers who are located within agricultural and rural communities of the Central Valley, Central Coast, northern Sacramento, and the desert areas in the southern part of the state. However, the California Department of Community Services and Development has received cap-and-trade funds to serve the poor through their network of private and public community nonprofits. However, the department's network has experienced challenges to reach and serve farm workers. This challenge has not been overcome after many decades. This legislation will ensure that farm workers' homes receive extensive weatherization services and installation of devices such as solar cells needed to save energy and reduce their carbon footprint. The program would have the goal of making the homes of the agricultural working poor practically net zero in electricity consumption. This would essentially have two major impacts of great significance. It would substantially raise the disposable income of the farm worker and significantly reduce the carbon footprint of this population. Our member agencies serve over 150,000 clients per year, and over 55,000 of our clients are farm workers. Allocating cap-and-trade funds to farm workers is essential, as farm workers are the backbone of a $46 billion agricultural industry that provides fruits, vegetables to California, America, and the entire world. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
You have another witness?
He's here to support me in case there are technical questions.
Okay, great. Any other witnesses in support? Please just state your name. Oh.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Alberto Torrico, on behalf of the Alliance for Solar Choice and Sunrun, in support of the bill. Thank you.
Jose Landeros, on behalf of Proteus, in support.
Witnesses in opposition to the committee. Is there a motion? And of course, you're taking the amendments, correct?
Yes, sir. We have accepted your amendments.
And, you know, this is great. I have always, you know, and not that I came from a farm worker family, but came from a poor background. I always wonder, you know, how we poor people seem to drive the least fuel efficient cars and have the least fuel energy efficient buildings, which deepens the impact of poverty. So this is an important issue to address, and the chair's recommendation is aye. Please call the roll.
The motion is due pass as amended and
Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you.
Do pass as amended and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Wood? Wood, aye.
7-0, your bill is out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll continue with the next bill, that is AB 2781. This is the Supplemental Environmental Projects Bill. Many communities in California continue to disproportionately be burdened by multiple sources of pollution. These disadvantaged communities, also known as environmental justice communities, require much more resources to tackle climate and environmental health impacts. Currently, many communities facing enforcement actions would rather pay the fine than implement the Supplemental Environmental Project Plan. As a result, there continues to be a disconnect that prevents disadvantaged communities from benefiting from pollution mitigation projects funded by enforcement actions. Without requiring a mandatory disadvantaged community fund, these communities will continue to be overlooked and not benefit from much-needed environmental mitigation. AB 2781 will direct 10% of all penalties collected by California Environmental Protection Agency boards, departments, and offices to fund environmental projects in disadvantaged communities. Here to testify in support is Luis Olmedo, Executive Director of the Comité Cívico del Valle, and thank you for your consideration.
Each witness has up to 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman Williams and members of the committee. My name is Luis Olmedo, and I'm the Executive Director of Comité Cívico del Valle. We operate primarily in the Imperial Valley and Coachella Valleys. A couple of projects that sort of a signature of a lot of our work that we do on environmental justice and with disadvantaged communities. We're actually currently locating over 50 air monitors throughout the Salton Sea region, which is Imperial and Coachella. And we've also been working with IVAN, identifying violations affecting neighborhoods, which we've launched in 7 communities throughout throughout California. And what these projects have done, it has given us a way to work much closer and much more collaboratively with agencies such as Cal EPA and its BDOs, boards, departments, and offices. And since we've had an opportunity to dive in and through their environmental justice initiatives, learn about supplemental environmental projects, which brings us to this point. Last year, Assembly Member Garcia was able to pass Bill AB 1071, which allocated, or which gave direction that 50% of SEPs could go back, as 50% of violations and penalties could go back to communities, for disadvantaged communities, for SEP projects. But one of the flaws of that is that, however, the success of AB 1071 is contingent if the violator agrees to participate in a SEP. There's a greater probability that violator won't voluntarily participate on a SEP because currently BDOs won't release liability. And so this is why this bill is important to disadvantaged communities, because it offers, and I'll offer you as an example of why this bill is important. Back in 2014, just a couple of years back, the city of Raleigh was issued violations, $1.2 million. They weren't given an opportunity to do a SEP, and the money went somewhere else. But it took 10 years for the residents of that city to finally get Cal EPA to be responsive. So, what happens to that money? And this is why we feel that with most BDOs who have had their way with penalties.
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up.
Right. So this is why this bill is so important, that it requires 10% of all enforcement actions, monetary penalties be collected by Cal EPA boards and departments and offices to be deposited into supplemental environmental projects in disadvantaged communities fund.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. My name is Israel Cruz. I'm from Imperial County, and today I'm speaking on behalf of my community, but also I'm speaking on behalf of the Respira Sano project, or Breathe Healthy project. This is an asthma intervention project where we have the opportunity of providing education, information, resources, and clinical support to hundreds of families at home who has asthma sufferers at home, like their children. Well, Imperial Valley is a community that suffers from environmental issues such as water pollution and poor/hazardous air quality, and which consequences impact public health, the health of thousands of residents. And as we are aware, many of these environmental problems are caused by environmental violations of industry and private companies that find Imperial Valley the perfect place to execute their businesses, thanks to the poor regulations as of hand of our regulatory entities. I believe this bill, 2781, is not just a good idea. It is necessary to grant disadvantaged communities like ours a fair and a much-needed support to provide them an opportunity of a better life, a long-term community resilience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Williams. My name is Humberto Lugo. I'm the co-chair of the Ivan Environmental Justice Task Forces in Imperial County and Coachella Valley, and it's part of the Ivan Environmental Monitoring and Reporting Network, and it's in 7 communities throughout California now. And I'm here in support of the DAC fund that would help overburden communities throughout the state, since there currently is no obligation to the polluter to remediate any environmental harm caused to communities already struggling. Throughout California, communities continue to be burdened by pollution and are vulnerable to environmental hazards more than other communities. These disadvantaged communities, also known as fence-line environmental justice communities, require much more resources to tackle the environmental health impacts and implement community-led projects. This policy will improve the quality of life while receiving direct benefits to environmental justice communities. The introduction of this legislation will ensure that 10% of any monetary enforcement violation be deposited into the Disadvantaged Communities Fund. For these reasons, and respectfully, we ask for your support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Marcela Gutierrez Gaudin, Chula Azul, in support.
Thank you.
Marco Lizarraga from the Cooperativa Campesina, in support.
Witnesses in opposition? Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? To the committee. Motion by McCarty, second by Hadley. Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Chair's recommendation is aye. Please call the roll.
The motion is to pass and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Gomez? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper? McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Stone? Wood?
4-0. We'll leave the roll open.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, the final bill this afternoon is AB 2415, and I'll begin by stating that we will accept the committee's amendments that have been proposed, and I believe these amendments will address 95% of the concerns that have been raised by the opposition. I would say, with the exception of those who fundamentally disagree that a transitional approach to using our greenhouse gas reduction funds ought to be utilized for the purpose of having clean trucks on our freeways and highways. That being said, I just want to say that we all know that cleaning up air here in California while reducing our greenhouse gases is particularly important in many parts of the state that face daunting air quality challenges and reduction targets. For context, California is home to 2 of the air districts with the worst air quality in the country, in the South Coast Air District and the San Joaquin Valley Air District. This bill ensures that the state is prioritizing deployment of cleaner energy technology in the heavy-duty truck market that will reduce air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, while at the same time accelerating the retirement of older and high-polluting vehicles. Specifically, AB 2415 would require the Air Board resources to allocate specific funding that would be made available to take them into an annual budget process for deployment incentives for heavy-duty trucks. The bill would take effect in 2018 and sunset in 2023. The bill also requires heavy-duty trucks to be the cleanest, most advanced technology trucks available for their weight class. We have decided to take the amendments, as I mentioned, that have addressed a number of concerns, and I'll repeat, perhaps not addressing the fundamental differences that exist as it relates to using these funds. At this time, I would respectfully ask for your consideration. We have a couple individuals here to testify. There's been a motion, a second.
Please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Todd Campbell. I'm the Vice President of Public Policy and Regulatory Affairs for Clean Energy. AB 2415 pushes forward one of the most cost-effective ways to combat climate change and also enables fuels to be utilized, particularly those that would otherwise create short-lived climate pollutants, and maximize their value in the transportation space. I'd further say that the bill provides tremendous co-benefits. Heavy-duty trucks are the #1 source of NOx emissions in the South Coast and San Joaquin Basin. In fact, it represents 40% of the NOx emissions for on-road vehicles. Further, near-zero and zero-emission trucks powered by renewable fuels also reduce harmful air toxics. Imagine if you are in a disproportionately impacted community facing 1,400 in a million risk when EPA accepts only 1 in a million as acceptable risk. And I'd further say that by the sheer volume of fuel that would be consumed through heavy-duty trucks powered by low-carbon fuels, also near-zero, zero-emission vehicles, 1.2% of the vehicles on the road make up heavy-duty trucks, but they consume up to 15% of the state's petroleum. So if you're going to go after achieving a low-carbon fuel standard, if you're going to go after petroleum reduction, this is a perfect strategy. This is the bill that we should be focusing on. In fact, in the mobile source strategy that the Air Resources Board pulled together, they said this would be the single newest strategy that would provide the largest health benefit of any single new strategy available. So with all these facts, I just want to say we strongly support the bill and we urge an aye vote.
Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Jorge Morales. I'm the mayor of the city of Southgate, and I'm here in strong support of AB 2415. Southgate is in the southeast Los Angeles area, in the heart of the southeast, right next to Assemblymember Cristina Garcia's district. I represent about 96,000 residents, 95% of which are Latino. And the I-710 freeway, which as many of you know is the artery into the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, cuts right through our city. 40,000 trucks come across our city every single day. We have the highest rates of asthma, diabetes, and obesity. And the reason I flew in today is because this issue is very important to me, not only as a mayor, but as a father. A couple months ago, I heard a speaker talk about something that had a profound impact on my life. He mentioned that a zip code is predeterminant of a child's life more than his parents' genes. I have a 16-month-old son named Santiago. So if this is correct, that means that my son's going to grow up to be obese, diabetic, and asthmatic. And I can attest to that because I grew up in Southgate, and I'm obese, diabetic, and asthmatic. And for me, it's a personal issue. So I am here as a mayor, but this is an issue. I'm here as a father. We have the ability today, with your vote, to support these measures to really clean up the air in the southeast Los Angeles area as well as throughout California. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, members, David Jones on behalf of the City of Murrieta, similarly situated with the 15 and the 215. They're a very big problem for us. We'd like to have an aye vote.
Mr. Chair and members, Israel Salas, SoCal Gas here in support. Thank you.
To the 11 Bioenergy Association of California, we need these ultra-clean trucks so that we can convert organic waste to carbon-negative transportation fuels and reduce pollution, as the witnesses said. Thank you.
Just a reminder, witnesses, your name, your organization, and your support.
I'm Maria Teresa Griffin with Mothers of East Los Angeles, and I'm here today in strong support of AB 2415. But I just want to say, when you proposed the expansion of the 710 freeway, natural gas for all the
your name, your organization, and just your support.
Okay,
Thank you.
I strongly support.
David Lizarraga, representing the East Los Angeles Community Union, Telecu, in support.
Thank you.
Teresa Marcus. I'm president of the Mothers of East LA, and we are 100% for this bill. We live in Boyle Heights with 5 freeways coming in, and mainly the trucks from the port. And this bill would definitely help us to breathe a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erin Pak. I am representing 30,000 patients from CARE Clinic, also known as Korean Health Education Information and Research Clinic in Los Angeles. We're in full support of the bill so that we can provide some equity for the patients who who suffer unfairly from health issues.
Thank you. Your name, organization, and support.
Erwin Herrera, Binational Health Week Committee in Los Angeles, in support.
Thank you.
Tim Carmichael on behalf of the California Natural Gas Vehicle Coalition and 25 members in support.
Franklin Gonzalez from Bienvenidos Community Health Center. We're in strong support.
Sophia Serra on behalf of City of Buena Park and Port of Honeomi in support.
Witnesses in opposition.
Chairman Williams, committee members.
The first three witnesses can sit down. Yeah. Just make some space. First three, you have 2 minutes each.
Chairman Williams, committee members. My name is Kent Leacock. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Proterra, the leading U.S. manufacturer of zero-emission public transit buses with our headquarters and manufacturing located here in California. Prior to the amendments, Proterra was opposed to this bill, and we would like to still outline our opposition because we don't know exactly how the amendments will impact and what the long-term effects will be. And the reason that we opposed the bill was that it is a step backwards in California's elimination of toxic pollutants and reducing GHG emissions. It appears to be for zero-emission technology when in reality it excludes funding for the cleanest and most advanced technologies and would actually hinder the progress to eliminate toxic emissions. Currently, all the other near-zero and zero-emission vehicles compete for funding on a competitive basis based on merit, benefits to disadvantaged communities, and quantifiable reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. If passed, AB 2014 would guarantee a very large portion of the climate investment funds to an exclusive program benefiting a small handful of conventional petroleum-based natural gas companies and likely directing hundreds of millions of public funds to a single natural gas motor manufacturer with jobs and economic benefits outside of California for the foreseeable future. This would limit funding and stifle advancement for other important emissions-reducing projects, including zero-emission public transportation, goods movement within the ports, lower-class heavy-duty vehicles, off-road vehicles, and demonstration projects, directing hundreds of millions of public funding to a small subset of fossil fuel parties while diverting money from multiple zero-emission options is bad policy for California. We ask for your no vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Steve Wallach here on behalf of the Alameda Contra Costa Transit District and the Center for Transportation and the Environment. We also remain opposed to the bill. So it's one we haven't seen the actual language yet. But also, the purpose of the program was to set up a funding program to help develop and commercialize near-zero and zero-emission vehicles in both trucks, buses, and kind of off-road or port type equipment. The program already dedicates 20% of the funds for trucks, for these natural gas trucks. This bill originally had 100% of the funds going there. Now it sounds like it goes back to maybe 50%, heading in the right direction. But still, it's for a competitive program for these projects to compete on what's the best use of these funds for the greatest good for a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Center for Transportation and the Environment has several projects it's working on, both in at the Port of LA for both drayage trucks, Class H drayage trucks, as well as port equipment that would benefit from funding through these programs. With a bill like this, you'd be exchanging development of zero-emission technology for the continuation of natural gas technology. And so we urge your no vote.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Yana Vasquez with Sierra Club, California, and as my colleagues here mentioned, we're opposing the bill for the same reasons, but also, too, is emphasizing that this pot of money was specifically designed for zero to near-zero emissions technologies, and to really get us to more of what we have the technology available. We already have been discussing with the Assemblymember Garcia on additional pots of funding that these manufacturers can actually tap into and actually be able to be utilizing these monies to advance natural gas vehicles. But we are really trying to protect monies that are really just focusing on zero to near-zero emission heavy duty to medium-sized duty. Specifically, the bill is trying to really focus on heavy duty, not really focusing so much on medium-sized duty. I know there was a carve-out in regards to the bus rule to really allowing buses, but that's not enough. There's a lot of more technologies that need to be advancing, not just on the bus sector, but also on the marine, on off-road vehicles, that we can actually use these monies to be able to deploy this technology and commercialize it in the future. And I know they indicated that this is GGRF, so it's really trying to reduce greenhouse gases. Natural gas vehicles are not really reducing greenhouse gases or even short-lived climate pollutants. So really focusing on that and where the money is really intended for. For these reasons, we oppose the bill, and trying to work with the author and trying to really see where we can come is how do we increase other pots of funding that don't really target really the mission of where these monies are coming from. So thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses, just your name, organization, and in this case, your opposition.
Good afternoon, Victoria Rome with the Natural Resources Defense Council, in opposition for the reasons stated, but we will review the amendments carefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Will Barrett with the American Lung Association, also in opposition. We do look forward to reviewing the amendments. Thank you.
Matt Kloppenstein with Union of Concerned Scientists, still opposed to the bill, but are reviewing the amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition.
Thank you.
AKA tweeners.
Tweeners. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Moira Top on behalf of the Orange County Transportation Authority. Prior to the committee, we did have an opposed unless amended position, but have removed our opposition with the assurances we've been given by the author for the amendments that were taken today. We appreciate his efforts and yours as well. Thank you.
Thank you. To the committee. Mr. McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support this measure. I'll move the bill.
Oh, it's been moved and seconded.
Okay.
I'll just detail the amendments. This bill has had a long and Mr. McCarty.
Yeah. I also want to say that I supported this similar measure last year. I understand that the author looked at the measure last year and tried to partially address some of the concerns. And I realize, first and foremost, that it's an imperfect solution. And hopefully one day we will have the technology to deal with our big trucks going up and down the state of California with a 100% zero-emission approach. But that's not the issue today. And we're putting money into research and so forth. And hopefully one day we'll get there. But in the interim, up and down corridors like my colleagues next to me right here, there's no answer in your sight, so I think this is the best approach in the interim. Thank you for bringing this measure forward.
Other comments, questions from the committee? I'll just say that this bill, prior to the current author, has had a long and infamous history and has had some, I think, problems, the most obvious of which being the use, as first proposed, of GGRF funds for something that was not necessarily going to reduce GHGs. However, we do believe that with the amendments, this is a practical solution. I think the proponent's greatest point is that there needs to be a viable solution to reduce emissions from all sectors of the transportation, of the state's transportation, including long-haul trucks. The amendments require that first 30% and then 50% of the fuel come from renewable natural gas, and that the ARB has the authority to raise that into the future. The second issue really was that we don't know how much the fund will be ongoing. And so the original bill required a large share, and it would be a growing share because as the pot went down, the amount would have been maintained for this category. And in that universe, we would have lost a lot of funding for transit and other uses. That is why we have taken the amendment of 50%, and that there would be obviously between that 50% monies for both both transit and for long-haul trucks. I won't go into all the other amendments, but I think that that's the most important in an attempt to balance the needs for emissions reductions across the transportation sectors. So the chair's recommendation is an aye. Please call the roll. Oh, would you like?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
The motion is due pass as amended and re-refer to Appropriations Committee. Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Jones?
Aye.
Jones, aye. Garcia? Aye. Garcia, aye. Gomez? Hadley? Aye. Hadley, aye. Harper? Aye. Harper, aye. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Stone? Wood?